Whispers. Beneath the Floorboards. Prologue. Summer, 1954. The night heat clung to Cedar Hollow like a second skin. Young Samuel Davis crept through his family's overgrown garden, clutching a leather-bound journal. His sister, Lillian, waited in the shadows of the big oak. "Promise me you'll keep this safe," Samuel whispered, pressing the journal into Lillian's arms. Inside were names, dates, and letters, evidence that the new sheriff had quietly covered up an attack on black families the year before. "I swear," she said, voice trembling. But before she could ask more, headlights swept across the lawn. Samuel ducked behind the porch. The sheriff's car screeched to a stop. Two men jumped out, torches in hand. Lillian watched in frozen horror as her brother stumbled into the light and then vanished forever. Chapter 1. Homecoming, Spring, 2024. Elena Carter ran her hand over the chipped white paint of the old farmhouse. "Can you believe Grandma left this to us?" she said to her husband, Mark, and their two children, Ava, 10, and Theo, 7. Inside, the air smelled of dust and wild jasmine. As Mark peeled up a warped plank in the living room floor, Ava's foot caught on something hard. "What's that?" Theo knelt beside her, brushing away debris to reveal a rusty iron latch. With a collective shove, they lifted a loose board, and beneath it lay a small wooden box, its lid carved with the initials SD. Elena exchanged a glance with Mark. "Samuel Davis," she whispered, her grandmother's maiden name. Chapter 2. The Box of Secrets. That evening, by the glow of a single lamp, Elena pried the box open. Inside were a faded black-and-white photograph of a young black man in a crisp suit, smiling nervously at the camera. A leather journal, its pages yellowed and brittle. Two sealed letters stamped, "Confidential, to be opened only by Lillian Davis." Ava's eyes widened. "Is this great-grandpa Samuel?" Elena's breath caught. Grandma had never spoken of a brother. Theo ran his fingers through the photograph. "Why hide these?" Mark gently lifted the first letter and read aloud. "Lillian, you must hide this. They won't stop until every voice is silent. I've seen what they did. If anything happens to me, take this to Reverend Thompson. Tell him the truth. Always." Sam Elena closed her eyes. There was something they didn't want her to know. Chapter 3. Fractured Memories. The Carters left the box on the kitchen table and drove to the town archives. A gray-haired clerk led them to dusty files labeled Davis S. They found news clippings. "Local man missing. Search ongoing." Dated July 1954. A smaller headline months later. "Case closed. No evidence of foul play." Ava tugged at Elena's sleeve. "Why would they lie?" Back home, a third letter revealed the answer. Sheriff Miller promised to look into it, but he was part of it. He told me to keep quiet if I wanted to keep our family name clean. I'm sorry I didn't listen. Sam Mark slammed the journal shut. This is bigger than a family secret. Chapter 4. A town's reckoning word of the discovery spread through Cedar Hollow like wildfire. Reverend Thompson, now in his 80s, invited the Carters to the church basement. His hands shook as he opened the journal. Inside, Samuel had painstakingly recorded every injustice. A cross burned on a neighbor's lawn, threats at midnight, the day his cousin's store was torched. Reverend Thompson's voice cracked. "I tried to help your great-uncle back then, but fear kept us quiet." Elena placed her hand on his arm. "We'll help you speak now." That night, the Carters organized a town meeting in the same church where Samuel's disappearance memorials had once been held. Chapter 5. Confrontation and Courage. Under bright fluorescent lights, townspeople filled the pews. On the makeshift stage stood Elena, Mark, Ava, and Theo, holding the photograph, the letters, and the journal. Elena began, voice steady. 69 years ago, a brave young man tried to tell the truth. He was silenced. His family was silenced. Tonight, we set that right. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. A man in the back stood up. Sheriff Miller's grandson. "You have no proof." Under bright fluorescent lights, townspeople filled the pews. On the makeshift stage stood Elena, Mark, Ava, and Theo, holding the photograph, the letters, and the journal. Elena began, voice steady. 69 years ago, a brave young man tried to tell the truth. He was silenced. His family was silenced. Tonight, we set that right. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. A man in the back stood up, Sheriff Miller's grandson. "You have no proof." Mark held up the leather journal. Written in Samuel's own hand with dates and names. He opened it to a page listing the sheriff's name among the conspirators. Gasps filled the hall. Ava stepped forward and placed the photograph on the podium. "This is our great Uncle Sam. We want everyone to remember him." Chapter 6. Truth in the Open. Over the next few days, local news covered the story. A memorial plaque was commissioned in Samuel's honor. Reverend Thompson worked with the Historical Society to restore the Davis family name. Elena stood by the river where Samuel's footprints had once faded in the mud. Ava handed her the carved box. "We'll keep these safe," Ava said. "No more secrets." Elena hugged her daughter tightly. "And we'll tell this story so that no one ever forgets." Epilogue. In the Carters' living room, sunlight filtered through the curtains onto the old wooden floor. The plank beneath which Sam's box had rested was now sealed, but its whisper still echoed in every corner. That courage and truth can outlast time, and that justice, no matter how delayed, must never be buried.